It's been a pretty rotten Christmas for the Blades, but is the tricky spell now over? Welcome back to Where Blades Walk and a Happy New Year to you all. This week we're previewing the FA Cup game against Cardiff. Is it FA Cup number 5 for the Blades, or could they care less about this week? Plus, should Chris Wilder be more humble in defeat? West Brom fans very much were saying his comments were out of order. We'll ask these guys what they think on that, and could they care less? And we're talking about the players that are needed to get this promotion charge permanently back into the Premier League in January, as now, of course, the transfer window is wide open. We've got Shax, Dan, and Lucas is back this week. Thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't yet, of course, subscribed, press the button. Thank you for getting over us 300. Really massively appreciate that. Can you get us to 350? Right then, Shax, sum up the Christmas period if you can in a couple of words.
I mean, I know there's been a couple of defeats in there, but with taking into account the squad that we've got at the moment, the injuries, I'm not 7 points, beating Cardiff, winning yesterday, and a draw against West Brom. I said before Burnley game, you are allowed to lose a game of football, and if you're going to lose, you're probably going to lose to somebody who's in or around you, another good side. I don't think Burnley were brilliant, if I'm honest, but they did a job on us. And like I've said to a lot of my mates, you're not playing the proper Sheffield United at the moment. You're playing like a lot of second string, a lot of kids, and we're still picking up results. So I think Wilder said we've got 6 or 7 back for Norwich. So Christmas period, what we've just had will probably look a lot different to moving forward.
Absolutely, and we don't want to be reactionary at all. Like I know other people have done. You can look at the Burnley results and the West Brom results and the Sunderland results and say it's a mini crisis, Dan. But do you agree with what Shax has said? I mean, given the players that were out there, was that as good as you could possibly have given in them games?
Yeah, pretty much. I think we're pretty stretched at the moment. So I think going and picking results up like we picked up yesterday and an actual draw against West Brom, when you look at it, if you take away the 2-point deduction, we're still top. You know, after everything that's gone off over the Christmas period and the results that we've had. And once we get those bodies back or we bring players in, I'll be honest, I don't really see anybody getting close to us. If we can be this close now with a depleted squad and a squad, you know, half of the squad academy boys, then where can we be with as players fully fit and with new signings?
Okay.
So I'm not worried.
Cheers for that. Lucas, who stood out for you in these games? I've got to give a shout out to O'Hare and Hamer because I've watched. They've been running the show in places. But who stood out for you?
I think it'd be rude to not speak about Brooks. I think he's been unreal. We're really good in other game. I didn't manage to watch the game against Watford, but obviously he scored a good goal. And O'Hare just seems to be getting better every week. But like these two have said, we've had a bit of a unfortunate turn of events with injuries. So I feel like we're just grinding out results, which can't complain about.
Yeah, when Leeds are drawing and Burnley keep drawing, you're not out of this, are you, Shax? But the Sunderland result was pivotal because now it's not a 3-horse race, is it? Is it now a 4-horse race?
Well, if you listen to Real Madrid from up M1, they're obviously going to run away with it, aren't they, and win it by 30 points. So according to them, it's a 1-horse race. I don't think it is. I still think it's as it were before, 3, possibly 4 if you include Sunderland. Sunderland's another result that, again, I won't go too much into it. I thought we dominated large spells of that game. Had we had 2, maybe 3 extra players, what out of us 6 or 7 that are missing, I think we'd have beat them anyway. So no, but I don't think there's a crisis, and I think that it is still a 2, 3, 4-horse race, despite what Leeds fans will tell you, obviously.
It's going to be a big one, that, isn't it, when the reverse fixture that comes around shortly. Dan, this week it's FA Cup week. Then we've got no Championship game to preview. It is Cardiff on a Thursday night. I mean, first of all, you think that ruins the FA Cup slightly when they put fixtures like this on a Thursday? And also, could you care less? Would you wish Cardiff to knock you out?
I'd never wish a defeat because I'd like some of the players who are going to play in it, some of the fringe boys, some of the academy boys, to step forward and say to Chris Wilder, "Look, I can do you a job." You know, by putting in a good performance. That's what these games are for. But I think football is going down the route of being ruined, and the only way you're gonna get it back is by not one of these games. I certainly won't be attending due to work commitments, and just other stuff going off in my family life, and I don't miss many games. So, but I just think it's ridiculous. They're putting it on Welsh TV, 7:00 on a Thursday night. The Cardiff lads have got to travel over work next day. It's just, they don't think about anything anymore. But for me, do I want to win? Yeah, I want to win, get through progress. Am I bothered? Not really. I think there's bigger fish to fry for us in terms of Norwich getting your points, getting your players back. And it's just for players. It's just for players like, if they're going to bring in your Billy Blackers and your other fringe players, Harry Boys, step forward. Can they come in and say, well, I'm ready to step up? That for me is what Thursday should be all about, and that's no disrespect to Cardiff at all.
Okay. Lucas, I want to ask you as a younger fan, if that's okay, what does the FA Cup mean to you? Because these guys have seen relative success in the FA Cup, but you probably haven't. What do you care about it at all?
Not this season. No, I think if you're looking at the squad, I feel like playing a young squad it'd be more suitable. So obviously you want to win your games, but I generally couldn't care less if we went out. Rest obviously all the players, and we're in a good league position, so you don't want to risk getting anyone else injured.
Okay, let's have a look at the FA Cup pedigree then. As we mentioned already, four times winners, which is one of the highest in the Championship of the 24 teams there. West Brom have got 10, so you can't not quite as good as good of those 10 appearances. Sorry. Why is it, Shax, though, do you think that if you look at here, this is where you've exited instead of in recent years, other than the semi-finals a couple of years ago, that your loving with the FA Cup hasn't been perhaps as strong as you might expect for a club of your size. Fourth round against Brighton, third round against Wolves a couple of years ago, third round against Barnet, of course. You weren't reminding about that. What do you think it is?
Well, I know what it is. It's because we've all them seasons, what you just mentioned, we're always playing for something in league. So I think the Barnet season is the season we got promoted. So again, would I rather had that cup run and not got promoted? No, I wouldn't have. We're not going to win FA Cup. I mean, let's be realistic. We've got to semi-final, and then you play like a Man City, and then you just get played off park by one of the best sides in the world. So you're realistically only hoping for a quarter-final or a semi-final, and a quarter-final or a semi-final, to me, I'd much rather have promotion. So all them seasons, what you've mentioned, where we've not had a love-in with FA Cup, we've always either been a Premier League side fighting to stay in Premier League, or we've been a Championship, top-end Championship side fighting to get out of Championship into Premier League, or even right back to when we were in League One under Wilder. Again, we're fighting to get out of League One. We've always got something bigger to play for than what's essentially a cup now that's just for Man United, Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool. And then after them teams, it's just, you might get odd team what breaks into that, but it's not going to be us. It's not going to be Cardiff. Let's be real. There might be an exception every now and again, like Portsmouth, one I know Wigan, but on the whole, like, odds will tell you that we're not getting anywhere close to winning that.
Okay. We'll come and talk about some rumours in a minute in terms of players coming in that could help with the season down. But before I get to that, I just want to address some concerns and complaints from other teams, namely West Brom and Sunderland, about how Chris Wilder has reacted after the games in his post-match interviews. They're saying he's not been humble enough, complaining about things which clearly with either side. There were some bad refereeing decisions, I think, in the West Brom game for both sides. I think it's fair to say, complaining about things at Sunderland as well. Does he need to become a little bit more gracious and just accept, look, sometimes the better side did win, or West Brom did do a number on you?
I don't think it should ever come across like that. I think a lot of the stuff that he's talking about is when he's describing West Brom's bench. It's actually, if you flip it on its head, it's actually respect, because he knows how good West Brom are. He said how good they are. Burnley, with the players they can bring off the bench. Watford, the players they can bring off the bench that's available to him. When you look again, you go back to this weekend. We've got Davis, Sam McCallum, Ryan Brewster. You know, you're not going to expose any of the other boys to that game. That's what he's referring to in terms of you look at the strength and depth they had available on that day. I think he's always going to be like that, whatever he supports the club. I don't think he'd be like that if he managed somebody else. And that's no disrespect to any other club. But
yeah.
I don't get the problem. He's actually come out and respected West Brom in the way he said it, the way he's come across. And, you know, I think a Wednesday fan said to me earlier today, oh, what were you complaining about yesterday? We all have injuries. I said, yeah, you do. But have you got 5 lads on your bench that have never played before? In your first team, have you got 2 keepers on your bench in Championship? You know, it's just, I'm not pulling violin strings or anything like that. It is what it is. But now I think he comes across as he's just honest, I think. And I do think the refereeing decisions in this league are horrendous. Prime example against Burnley. Callum O'Hare's been smashed on edge of our box. Dave broke away, got a free kick, scored from it. Because them little things. There's a push in our box against West Brom, in back, 2 hands, no penalty, higher up pitch, we get a free kick for it. And where I say it every week, Chris Wilder's turned to 4th official and said, along the lines of, what's the difference in terms of those fouls? And he's right. It's just totally right. But I don't think other clubs should look at it like that. It's not disrespecting them. It's actually paying them credit or paying them respect by saying they are good teams. And when you're coming in this league and you've got those players available to you, and it's like what Shaq said, if we had 2 or 3 more players available against Sunderland, because I thought of the way we played, we'd have got a result against Burnley, West Brom. You have 1 or 2 more bodies available. It's totally different for us. But no, I think fans need to stop looking at it like that. Enjoy getting points against us and enjoy getting wins against us rather than moaning about us manager. Simple as.
Lucas, have they got a point? Or
yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought he was giving credit to like West Brom's squad, and it's not like he's lying realistically. The rest are awful. We've got kids on bench. West Brom have probably got stronger players on bench, so it's not like he's lied at all. So I don't really see a problem with it.
Shacks?
Yeah, exactly what them two just said. Probably a bit of jealousy as well, because they look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
With the squad that he's doing it with, and they're probably thinking, why is our manager not doing that? You know what I mean? You've got West Brom who are just serial underachievers. No matter what they spend, no matter what they chuck on wages, no matter what manager they have, they still not been in Premier League in God knows how long. And when they did go in Premier League, they got smashed to bits anyway. So probably a touch of jealousy in it as well, because you can't argue with what Wilder's doing, can you? We've got kids there who've got no experience of Championship football. And we're, like Dan said earlier, we're top of the league without that points deduction. So I think there's probably a bit of jealousy in it as well, to be fair.
Okay. All right, then let's jump into the January transfer window then. Just to end this on, we're looking for the names that we think Blaze should look at. Before you get into your names, let me throw some paper talk to each of you. That's all right. Lucas, Ollie McBurney's name obviously is always going to get linked with you. What's your opinion on this? The rumours are that you've been thwarted in signing him, but should you be interested anyway?
I'd take him back in a heartbeat, me personally. Honestly, okay. I think last season in Prem, I think he was one of our best players. And I think he links play up a lot better than Kiefer Moore does, for sure. I think he's better than Kiefer Moore, and the rest of them are useless. So I would take him. I think he'd be good in Championship, but I could see why a lot of people don't want him back.
Ben Brereton-Diaz, Shaq's another one. Name that's been, again, linked to a return.
Well, yeah, 100%. I mean, Lucas has just somehow claimed McBurney were one of his better players in Premier League. Well, you've just said one there that were 50 times better than him straight away, and that's just one. So yeah, Brereton-Diaz for me, definitely. He gives us what we need as well. He attacks from left-hand side. He knows where net is. He runs his socks off as well. Which, if you've got a bit of ability as well, he's got everything we need. Brereton-Diaz.
Tyler Morton, because of Arblaster's injury, Dan is one that's, I think we've heard it before and it keeps coming back for us. It'll be a loan move. He's on a loan. Well, he's at Liverpool, isn't he? I think at the moment he's already been there with Blackburn and I think Hull City as well. Is this one you'd entertain or not?
Yeah, it is. But I think this Hamza Chowdhury, I think's top of the list in that area, who I think would be a fantastic addition. And I'll be honest, as good as what Davis, Sousa, and Peck are, he'd walk straight into that midfield. But as for Tyler Morton, a good young player, I'm not so sure I'd waste a loan on a player if he's not going to come and get in ahead of the boys that we have there. I've not really seen enough of Tyler Morton to say that he's going to get in ahead of them three. But as for Hamza Chowdhury, who's been in and around the Premier League and that squad, I think somebody like that for us, we're short in that position. But also with Harry Souter missing, I think we're short at centre half. I think that's probably his biggest area at the minute. Getting another centre back in to help the two lads there we've got, because that is an area where we are really light.
Okay. All right, let's grab some more names from you then that you'd like to grab. Lucas, any more?
Tanganga, I think, is for centre back at Millwall. I think he's good. He's strong. I think he's decent on ball. I feel like we need someone like that. Thought he bullied a lot of our strikers, but we need a centre back now after Brereton-Diaz, who is probably the preferred player to come in. Hopefully, I think centre back's crucial to just someone can slide in for Souter.
Okay. Yeah, I mean he's their best player by far. I'm not sure you'd have to stop up some serious cash there. Shax.
Well, there's a lad that probably everybody's going to mention on every championship side, Louis Barry from Aston Villa. He's just been on loan at Stockport. He seems young, hungry, pace there, knows where net is, everything we need. Another name I've heard mentioned is John Joe Kenny. Used to be at Everton. He's now at Hertha Berlin, right back. I think that'd be brilliant, because I think Gilchrist's really, really running on empty at the minute. I mean, he's still doing a cracking job, not putting him down, but I think he's shot to bits. And you've got Sariki, who's injured, so I think if we could get somebody like that in, I think that'd be a good move for us.
Okay. Good shouts. Dan, finish this off.
I think Tom Cannon would be. I think it'd be a great striker for us to lead the line, and I think you're looking with other additions. You'd be looking at probably the winners of the championship there if you got somebody like that. I think they've also been linked with another right back, haven't they, James Bree from Southampton. But I think we might potentially be looking at 3 loans, because obviously if Harry Souter missing a couple of permanents now, that we'll see what happens in the coming weeks. I mean, it's going to be. I think with our track record of bringing loan players in, like your McAtees, your Doyles, and Morgan Gibbs-Whites in the past, somebody like Louis Barry, Aston Villa might favour him coming to us, because we look after the loan players quite well, and they come and do quite well here. So, we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But I think certainly a winger, which Brereton-Diaz looks like I'm pretty much certain that's going to happen. Centre midfield, centre half, right back, striker. That's. But in the meantime, we just get us players back, and we see where we are at end of window. And I think the good thing about it is this time nobody's talking about our players leaving. Whereas I think when you look at Leeds, I'm going to flip it on its head here a little bit. They've got Brandon Aronson, James. They've got Willie Nonto, a couple of other boys that teams in Premier League or around Europe are going to be looking at. Let's be realistic, and no disrespect to him, a Premier League club is going to be looking at Gus Hamer, Callum O'Hare, Andre Brooks. That's I'm just playing a little game there with that, but those Leeds boys will be more wanted than ours. But then on the other side of that, probably Leeds are the biggest pull in the division, so we'll see what happens, because we'll be in for the same players as them, and vice versa, I'm assuming.
Okay. One rumour of a player that might be lifted is Ryan One, who's obviously on loan. Liverpool apparently scouting him there, Shax. I mean, I've not seen anything of him particularly enough to comment here. Would you see him as a potential Premier League player in the future?
No, I mean he's young and he's young. It'd be hard for me to say he's not going to do it, but he's young. But he needs a low. Liverpool would only be signing him to loan him way lower down pyramid than probably. Well, yeah, definitely lower down pyramid than us. So I don't. I just, as Alan Nixon wrote that, I just can't see a way how that's come out of anybody sensible's mouth that they're in for him. I thought Asula were bizarre, to be honest, and it happened. So it might be right, but I just can't see where Liverpool or where he'd fit in a Liverpool setup. To be honest, I just can't. He's everything what Liverpool probably don't really play with as well. He's a big he's not particularly quick. He's not particularly great with ball on floor. He's just a big, strong unit that's probably excelled at junior football because he's bigger than everybody else. But when you get to your Premier League clubs, like Asula's finding out, you're not bigger than everybody else. You're just one of them, and it's hard to start bullying people around when you're not in under 18s, under 19s, under 20s football. So I think that's a bizarre one myself. But that's not knocking Ryan One. He might go on and do brilliant. I just think that's probably all wrong for him.
I think as well, just touching on that, I think it's really tough for us as well to see the best of him because of how thin our squad's been, and some games we've sat in and not attacked. So if you're playing fast-flowing football and he's in the box, you might get a few tap-ins, look different. But I think it's been really hard to see what his strengths are as well. I think personally, I saw a little bit in Asula. I thought he was powerful, he was quick, and I could see why Newcastle. I mean, the Daniel Jebison one always puzzles me, but Will Asula, you can see he's got masses of potential, especially coming out. He didn't. To be fair, when he played last season in Premier League, he didn't do that bad in games, but yeah, for Ryan Owen, it's been a really tough one.
It's just the level, isn't it? Like when you're talking about Asula, you've got to then go and try and dislodge Alexander Isak. Yeah, and I don't care how good Asula's looks. You're not moving somebody like that. So I think sometimes they move to these clubs, and Ryan One is going to be like 58th in queue to play up front for Liverpool. So I don't see a point.
No, I don't.
All right, let's see how that one develops, if at all. Right, you three have a good week. Enjoy the FA Cup game. Thank you very much for staying with us and watching right through to the end. Drop us a link and drop us a like, and subscribe. But also in the chat, let us know your players that you wish to sign or want to see the Blade sign in this January window. And then we've got a very busy January coming up after that as well. We'll preview it all here on Where Blades Walk. Thank you for watching. Have a great week. See you in 7 days' time.